Just beyond the quiet waters of Mason Cove lies a small, wind-swept island, the Isle of the Dead. Once part of the infamous Port Arthur Penal Settlement on Tasmania's rugged peninsula, this isolated patch of land served as the final resting place for those who lived and died under the harsh rule of the British convict system. From the 1830s to 1877, it became both cemetery and symbol, a haunting mirror of the world across the water, where rank, suffering, and survival determined a person's fate in life and even in death. Here, in the heart of what was once called Van Diemen's Land, the Isle of the Dead whispers the untold stories of Australia's convict past, silent, solemn, and eternal. In 1830, Port Arthur began as a humble timber station on Tasmania's remote southern coast. But it soon grew into one of the British Empire's harshest penal colonies, home to men who had defied the law more than once. As its prison walls filled with convicts, guards, and officials, the settlement faced an inevitable truth: death was as constant as labor. By 1833, a small island across the bay was chosen as a place apart, a cemetery for the dead of Port Arthur. It would come to be known as the Isle of the Dead, a silent witness to the price of punishment in a faraway land. On the northern rise of the Isle of the Dead lay the graves of officers and free settlers, their resting places marked by carved stone and careful words. To the south, among the low ground and sparse grass, the convicts were buried most in unmarked graves, their names lost to time. More than 1,000 souls found their end here, claimed by disease, exhaustion, and the unforgiving rhythm of the penal colony. The island became a reflection of life at Port Arthur, ordered, divided, and steeped in silent suffering. From the shores of Port Arthur, the Isle of the Dead was always in sight, a quiet shadow reminding every convict of where their journey would end. For some, it meant release from hardship. For others, a warning of what awaited those who broke below the system's weight. Chaplains from the settlement led each funeral with words of repentance and redemption, their prayers echoing across the water, a final act of order in a world built on punishment. When the Port Arthur Penal Settlement closed in 1877, the sounds of chains and commands faded into history. Thus, the Isle of the Dead remained, its graves still tended, its silence unbroken. For years after, locals continued to use the island for occasional burials until the early 1900s, when time itself claimed it as a relic of Australia's convict past. Through careful excavation, historians have uncovered grave markers, artifacts, and records that reveal the lives and deaths of those buried on the Isle of the Dead, both convicts and free settlers alike. Today, the Port Arthur Historic Site Management Authority preserves the island, balancing its fragile past with education and remembrance. Today, the Isle of the Dead stands as a solemn memorial to the human cost of Australia's convict era. Through guided tours and digital reconstructions, the forgotten voices of Port Arthur's dead are heard once more. Each grave, each name or silence invites visitors to reflect on punishment and redemption, on class and mortality, and on how the echoes of the past still shape the story of this Island of the Dead. Across the still waters of Mason Cove, the Isle of the Dead endures a haunting yet powerful witness to Australia's penal past. Below its quiet soil rest officers, women, children, and convicts, all equal at last in death, though divided in life. No longer a place of punishment, the island now stands as a monument of remembrance, ensuring that the human voices of Port Arthur once silenced are never forgotten. Don't forget to hit the like button and subscribe.